And welcome back to another episode of Fan Talk with yours truly, Kyle Brenchley. I'm back in the studio, and it is Thursday, and it is time to talk like a fan. Not those fans that, keep you cool at night, but as a sports fan. Here I am, I'm back. This is Fan Talk. This is a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley. And before we jump in, for all the video viewers, check out my hair progression. I invite you guys to go check out episode 1. I filmed that back in October, so about 6 months ago. Go see what my hair looked like then and compare it to what it looks like now. It's getting pretty long. For those of you who are interested, some people have asked about how long I've been growing it out. I started growing it out in February of 2022. So it's been about 14 months since I last got a haircut. It's getting pretty long. It's past the shoulders. I don't have any plans to cut it as of right now. Eventually I will, maybe, perhaps. You'll just have to see. But yeah, go check out that first video and see how long my hair has grown since then and has changed since then. Speaking of change, this podcast has gone through a few changes in the 6 months that I've done this. I failed to mention last week was my 20th episode. So that was awesome. 20 weeks of Fan Talk content. That's a big accomplishment. We're going to keep going. Today's the 21st episode. But I did mention last week, I want to talk a little bit about the future of this podcast. I will be moving locations, so I will not have this studio at my disposal. So what I'm going to do, for the time being, I'm going to do my podcasts. I'm going to do virtual podcasts. I'm going to do them online. And I'm going to bring more guests on the show. I believe that kind of season 2, if you want to say that, the next step in this podcast is having a guest-oriented show. So I'm going to be obviously doing those online, and I'm going to have people come on, and it's going to be great. So keep an eye out for that. I'll do one more episode like this in the studio next week, and then after that I will be moving online and doing it from there. But for now, let's enjoy the studio. Let's enjoy the services that I'm able to use and utilize, and let's have some fun. Fan Talk, this is a podcast, as you know, found on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Search Fan Talk Kyle Brenchley to find the podcast easier. I do post on my Instagram, on my Twitter, on my Snapchat, on my LinkedIn, just little snippets of the episode, little short tidbits. I'd appreciate if you guys go check it out if you can't sit through the full episode. I try to keep these short. I try to keep these 20 minutes. I know sometimes people don't have a lot of time to sit down and listen to a podcast, but if you're vacuuming, if you're taking out the garbage, if you're studying, if you got some free time, put in those earplugs and check me out. All right, so now let's go on to some fan talk. I want to do a little segment, a little fun segment today. It's titled Hurt Players or Hurt Feelings. The NBA playoffs have been going on the last week or so, and it's been real fun and exciting to watch. I like watching NBA playoffs. Things tend to get a little more heated, and stakes are higher. So this segment, Hurt Players or Hurt Feelings, we're gonna go through some teams here in the NBA, some situations here in the playoffs where there's some hurt players, or there's some players with some hurt feelings. So let's start with the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. That series is currently tied 1-1. Clippers took game 1, but then Phoenix came back and took game 2. This is really important because there's been some news today that Kawhi Leonard, he has soreness in his knee and he won't be able to play tonight in game 3, which, as you may know, the Clippers are already missing their other star, Paul George, with a knee injury. So Paul George is out, Kawhi Leonard is out. I'm going to say Kawhi Leonard, obviously hurt player. He doesn't have a lot of emotion that he shows, so it doesn't quite hit the hurt feelings, but he's a hurt player. It'll be interesting to see what the Clippers do tonight against the Suns. The Suns are coming off a great offensive performance there in Game 2, and Chris Paul finally won when Scott Foster was officiating. There's like this weird stat out there that he's like 3-16 in games that Scott Foster officiates. So Chris Paul hurt feelings. Not a hurt player, hurt feelings, but they finally did get the win, so maybe those hurt feelings will slowly fade away. Let's move on back to the East. Here's another series where one of the star players has been injured. Actually, two players have been injured in this series. This is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. As you know, Game 1 was wild. Giannis Antetokounmpo went out with a back injury, and he missed Game 2. So, hurt player. Tyler Hero broke his hand diving for a loose ball in Game 1, and he's out. Hurt player. So, not too many hurt feelings in this series here, unless you're a Miami Heat fan, and you're going back to Miami, and you were looking promising, hey, like, we stole a game in Milwaukee, we're at 1-1, we're going back to Miami, but Giannis might come back, Tyler Hero's out, Jimmy Butler can only wear that Superman cape for so long. Miami might be in a little bit of heated trouble, pun intended there. This next series, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks, and I thought this would be one of the more fun series to watch. Both teams are pretty evenly matched, kind of hard to pick who's going to come out on top. Cavaliers won Game 2, but New York Knicks stole Game 1. 1-1, going back to New York, Madison Square Garden for Game 3. That game is Friday night. This one, I don't really have anything on the Cavaliers, but I do have a little bit of hurt feelings from Julius Randle. In Game 2, Julius Randle was going up for a dunk, and Jared Allen did a contest. He went to go block it, and it resulted in Julius Randle landing awkwardly on his back, kind of his rear side, and also twisting his leg weird. He's okay. He didn't get injured, but just kind of a weird landing. And all of this happened with about 3 minutes and 38 seconds left in the fourth quarter, garbage time. The Knicks were down by like 30 points. So, I mean, he shouldn't have been there in the first place. But he did mention in a post-game interview that Jared Allen, that play was a little uncalled for. So a little hurt feelings there by Julius Randle. He'll be okay. He'll get back under the lights in New York City, and everything will be all right in New York. If this podcast doesn't turn out, I will try to be a singer, wedding singer. Go check out my video on TikTok. I did that a couple months ago at my friend's wedding, and it was awesome. So, bing bong. All right, let's go to another fun series. Memphis Grizzlies, Los Angeles Lakers, currently tied 1-1. Grizzlies won Game 2, but Lakers took Game 1. A lot of these are fun. 1-1 going back to L.A. LeBron is obviously carrying this Lakers team. Anthony Davis is hit and miss. D'Angelo Russell's hit and miss. But Ja Morant, hurt player. He got injured there in Game 1. Wasn't able to go for Game 2. We'll see about Game 3. He has until Saturday to heal up. But LeBron, the Lakers, the rest of the NBA, probably hurt feelings. I'll explain why. There's this man who many believe is a menace to society. His name is Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks played at Oregon. Now he's on the Memphis Grizzlies. Professional NBA player. Some would say also a professional actor and a professional disruptor of the peace. Some people are saying that, not me. Some people are saying that. Dillon Brooks was all up in LeBron's grill yesterday, and he hit a dagger three, played very well, and was, made some comments about LeBron, saying he's old, I don't care what he has to say, whatever, I'm Dillon Brooks, kind of a thing. So, obviously, when you attack LeBron James or the Lakers, there's going to be some backlash. So, the Lakers are like, Dillon Brooks, he's the worst. I think everybody's kind of tired of Dillon Brooks and his shenanigans. There was an ESPN analysis that called Dillon Brooks a wishbone version of Draymond Green, or a dirty version of Draymond Green, or a minor league version of Draymond Green. So people are pretty critical. So I think it'd be safe to say LeBron's trying to keep his head here, but the Lakers and the rest of the NBA, maybe a little bit of ESPN, have some hurt feelings. Let's go to another exciting series. The Sacramento Kings light the beam up 2-0 against the Golden State Warriors. When was the last time Golden State was down 2-0? I think It was 2007 is the stat I remember hearing on the broadcast. So they're down 2-0. There was an altercation between Draymond Green, as I mentioned, and Domantas Sabonis, where there was like a rebound, and Sabonis was falling down on the ground, and he was protecting himself. Draymond Green was coming down, and his foot was going to hit Sabonis' head, so Sabonis was kind of blocking that. And in the process, Sabonis got tangled up with Draymond Green. Draymond Green took exception to that, and he stomped on Sabonis' chest, which resulted in Draymond Green being ejected from the game and suspended for Game 3. So Sabonis, hurt player, they were saying that he might have had some bruises in his sternum. They were checking him out. He seems to be okay for tonight's game as of right now. Draymond Green, ESPN hurt feelings. I know a lot of people sounded off about the suspension, one-game suspension for Draymond Green, and how it was silly and how they shouldn't have done it. However you want to interpret it, however you want to decide what has happened, it has happened, and we can't change that. So he's suspended for one game. Hurt feelings, ESPN hurt feelings, and all those bandwagon Golden State fans hurt feelings as well. So that was my little segment there, hurt players or hurt feelings. I might do this again next week, depending on what injuries we see and what hurt feelings come about from there. But kind of fun to do little segments. I'll incorporate some of these more in the future of the podcast as well when I do move it, and I do have a guest that comes on. We'll play some games, we'll do some trivia, we'll do little segments like that, and should be good. If you haven't heard, the MLB, Major League Baseball, is looking to expand to 32 teams. There's been a lot of talk about where some of these expansion teams will go. Most recently, this morning, there was a report that the Oakland A's are probably going to move to Las Vegas because they were looking at a plot of land and they're very interested in obtaining more information and buying it. So there's a good chance the Oakland A's will now be the Las Vegas Athletics, the A's. Not to be confused with the Las Vegas Aces, which is a WNBA team who did very well in the last couple of years, if I might add. And so they're looking to expand the league. Las Vegas looks like it's already a sure bet. Salt Lake City was a location that recently was in the news about a week ago or so. They kind of hit headlines as a city that has interest in being a front runner for an MLB team expansion. And a lot of people have talked about possibly the Tampa Bay Rays or the Los Angeles Angels being on the move to a new place. But expansion teams could be a reality in the next couple of years here. So I found this website. It's called Yardbarker, and they're kind of breaking down some of the most realistic locations, or making an argument for some locations for MLB teams. And so I want to talk about a few, give you my thoughts, and then I want you guys. I'll do a little thing on Instagram where I have a poll and I vote, and I have you guys vote on top 4, or maybe I have you guys put in some suggestions on what you guys think. But this is this website here, so it has a few ideas. One of the places it says is Nashville. Nashville, obviously a lot of sports teams there. You got an NFL team, you got a Major League Soccer team, you got a hockey team, and then you have the Memphis Grizzlies, which are on the other side of Tennessee, so not quite Nashville. Memphis is another team that's mentioned on here, but Nashville was probably going to get more recognition before that. I think Nashville's a very a good place to put a baseball team. I think Tennessee's just a sport-loving state, and it's very realistic. Another team or another location here is Las Vegas. I mean, it's probably a sure bet that they'll get the Oakland A's. Charlotte, I think North Carolina is a wonderful state. Charlotte's a cool city. They got the Panthers, they got the Hurricanes, they got the Hornets. They got some cool places there. Actually, the Hurricanes are in Raleigh, but still, like North Carolina, they do have some cool teams there. Charlotte could be a very possible landing spot. They did just get a Major League Soccer team this last year, so look for that to be an expansion place. Salt Lake City, another city that I mentioned earlier, definitely could be a baseball town. The fans are very passionate about the Utah Jazz and Real Salt Lake. So yeah, that could be a possibility too. There were some Canadian teams that were actually in the mix as well. And when I say in the mix, obviously this is still ongoing and nothing has been set. Montreal, there used to be a baseball team up there called the Montreal Expos. That could be a landing spot for an expansion team. Vancouver. I have some experience living up in Vancouver. I lived there for a couple years. They do have the Canucks, which is part of the NHL, and they do have a Major League Soccer team in the Whitecaps. It'd be cool to have a baseball team up there. Vancouver, very hip place, very diverse place, and baseball would do very well there, if you ask me. San Antonio's another name here on the list. Oklahoma City, New Orleans, even Virginia Beach made it on there, which I thought was kind of weird. Jacksonville, Portland, just some of these places that do have professional teams that just don't have the baseball team. That could very well see a team there. I'd like to see a team in Salt Lake City. That'd be awesome. But that'd be awesome to see a team in Salt Lake City. I think Nashville is very likely. I think a team could do well in a place like Portland or Oklahoma City, where they do have a professional team that the fans are very passionate about. But it could be interesting to see. If Tampa Bay is on the move, I'd also like to see another team in Canada, in Vancouver. So yeah, I'd say kind of my top four right now would be Nashville. I think that's very likely. Salt Lake City, a Canadian team, preferably in Vancouver, and then either Portland or Oklahoma City. Either of those, I think, would do and be very good. So let me know. I'll do a little poll. I'll ask your guys' opinions. I'll see what you guys think. But let me know, where should the MLB go next? And what teams or what cities would you like to see them go to? Thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast. This is Kyle Brenchley here on Fan Talk. You can find this podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. It was fun today. Did a little something different. Did a little segment. Had a little discussion. And I look forward to doing more of these in the future. You guys have a great weekend. And signing off. Peace out.